move along to, of course, that part of the show where we look at football games and we try to determine who will be the winners of those games, basically by random chance. We have no skill in this whatsoever. At least I don't have any skill in this whatsoever. It is the picks. Great track right here. Oh, that's his picks. Here we go. Rock and roll. So, Thursday night football. We have one of the games of all time. The Jets visiting the Browns. Seth taking the Browns in this one. I agree. Look, I talked about earlier in the show, Joe Flaaco is actually kind of good. And the Jets, hey, they blew out the Commanders last week, surprisingly. I don't know how they did that, but no. I mean, this is still not a good Jets team. They're very not good. I don't even know. They got Trevor Siemian. Is that their quarterback? Is that what they're going to be rocking with? Yeah. I don't think that's a good combination, and I think that this could be a defensive game. We'll just leave it at that. It's going to be an ugly game, but I think the Brownies are going to come away with the win here. Saturday night football, although it's technically sort of Monday Night Football, but because the college games, there's not going to be Monday Night Football. It's the Lions visiting the Cowboys. Seth is taking the Lions in this one. Wow. I actually appreciate it, Seth. I'm also going to take the Lions just because I'm a biased Lions fan, and I'm taking the Lions. Look, I don't think it's totally out of the realm of possibility here. The Lions coming into this game as the hotter team, obviously the Cowboys being undefeated at home, I should say, is going to make this game much, much tougher. But we've seen in back-to-back weeks, Cowboys are certainly a vulnerable team, and they're cooling down at the wrong time in the season. Lions, on the other hand, they're heating up at the right point in the season. Technically speaking, the Lions, at this point, are just playing for seeding. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to host the home playoff game. And I think there's a good chance that you could have C.J. Gardner-Johnson back for this game, which is only going to bolster the defense that has been playing pretty well the last couple of weeks. So give me the Lions to win this game. Up next, we have the Dolphins visiting the Ravens. Seth is taking the Birdies in this one, and I am just, this is a toughie. I am going to agree just because it'll be a cold December afternoon, and Tua and those Dolphins, they just seem to don't like the cold. There's a lot of not fun weather when it comes to the Ravens. Baltimore at this time of year it's not gonna be fun. It's not gonna be Miami. And the Dolphins, they just seems like this is a year-to-year occurrence where they do this. Now, obviously, they had the impressive win this past week against the Cowboys at home. This is going to be a much tougher game. Ravens look like they could be a Super Bowl contender, and I think if the Dolphins want to put themselves in that category with the Ravens, they got to go out and they got to win this game. But I don't think they're going to do that, so give me the Birdies. Up next, the Patriots visiting the Buffalo Bills. Seth is taking the Bills. And I am going to agree with this because I will never take the Patriots. I don't care that they beat the Broncos. The Broncos stink. They shouldn't have beaten the Broncos. It shouldn't have happened. It was like an astronomical anomaly. Like it shouldn't have happened. But the Bills, on the other hand, they've looked pretty solid. I mean, they beat the Chargers on the road Saturday night there. That was a pretty tough game for them to. They toughed that one out. It wasn't pretty. But I think this Bills team is starting to figure some things out. They could be a sneaky team in the playoffs. But, yeah, they're definitely better than the Patriots. So I'll just give it to the Bills. Up next, the Falcons visiting the Bears. Seth is taking the Bears. I will agree. The Bears are probably just the better team on paper. Or maybe just in practice. Bears coming off of a big win. Well, big win. Big as in they beat the team, really, by a large amount against the Cardinals. And the Falcons coming off of a game where they just look terrible. Again, because that's all they do, is just look terrible. I don't understand. Or they win the game. But like they just like I hate them. I hate the Falcons. They're like they're like a staph infection if it was a football team. So, no, I refuse. I'm not taking the Falcons. Give me the Bears. Up next, the Titans visiting the Texans. A little rematch from a couple of weeks ago here. Seth, is taking the Texans. I am going to take the Titans in this one. I'm going to switch it up. I don't know if CJ Stroud is going to be back at this point. And look, as bad as the Titans are, they are, I think, still technically in the hunt. So I think they want to win this game. They lost the last one in very unfortunate fashion. I think they have this game circled. I think they're going to want to keep their playoff hopes alive. And because I'm just not certain about CJ Stroud's situation, I really have no reason to take the Texans right now, especially given how bad they look without him. So yeah, give me the Titans. Up next, the Raiders visiting the Colts. Seth is taking, wait for it, the Raiders. No. Taking the Colts. Give me Minshew Mania. Look, the Raiders scored no offensive touchdowns. That's crazy to think about that they did that last week. So yeah, give me the Colts. They're not like an amazing team, but they're a weirdly good team. And again, that division is still wide open. Jaguars, I don't know what they're doing. They're playing with they're not playing football. We'll just say that. I almost said something I shouldn't have said. And the Colts are just like a weird team. They're somehow a above 500 team, and they're in the playoff picture, kind of. I don't know. Give me the Colts. Up next, we have a battle of the kitties. Panthers at the Jaguars. Seth has taken the Jaguars. Yeah, of course I'm taking the Jaguars, guys. Come on now. This game is going to be probably very bad. I wouldn't recommend watching this game if you have a choice in the matter. But the Panthers actually showed some life against the Packers last week. They got it a little bit close. Bryce Young had a game, I guess. And the Jaguars, it's like they're just shooting themselves in the foot. At a certain point, you just kind of grow tired of Trevor Lawrence, where you're like, okay, this guy is constantly being touted. He's a generational talent. He's number 1 overall pick. They got their guy in Jacksonville. And outside of that span last year where he was looking really good, he just really hasn't impressed me all that much. And while I think he's going to get the win here, and he certainly has a shot to make the playoffs again and maybe, change everybody's mind, I got to think the Jaguars, I think they get this win, but I don't think they're going to do much else from there. So give me the spotted or blotched. What do Jaguars have? Whatever. The kitties from Florida. Give me them. Up next, the Rams against the Giants on the road. Seth is taking Los Rams. I will agree here because Thomas DeVito is not a good quarterback. I do kind of like the idea that people had where they were like, oh, are they gonna the Giants gonna sign Tommy DeVito? And then I was just thinking, no, why would they sign Tommy DeVito? He stinks. He's not that good. Like he had some legendary moments there. Obviously beating the Packers. Shout out. I'll always love him for that. But no, I mean Matthew Stafford and this Rams team starting to heat up at the right time. This is a scary team to face in the wild card round, assuming they make it. So, yeah, I know it's on the road. Weather's not going to be great, obviously. Late December in New Jersey. So, yeah, give me the Rams, though. I think they're going to pull off the win. Cardinals visiting the Eagles. We got another battle of the birds here. Seth has taken the Eagles. And, yeah, I will take the Eagles. This feels to me like a lot of ugly teams playing bad teams. Like this feels like the get right week for a lot of teams. Eagles really been struggling. Obviously they get the win on Christmas over the Giants. Certainly needed that bounce back game. But Jalen Hurts not looked amazing last few weeks. Defense certainly has not looked amazing. But this Cardinals team is so bad, and you're coming into your house. I think this is going to be a pretty easy win for the Eagles. So give me the Birds of Philadelphia. That's the sound an eagle makes. I'm never making that noise again. I probably made it in the past. Up next, the Saints taking on the Buccaneers. Little NFC South action. Seth is taking the Buccaneers. And I am going to agree. The Buccaneers figuring it out. Baker Mayfield starting to have a sneaky good year. Like, certainly you'd say in the running for comeback player of the year. He's made those Buccaneers a pretty tough team. You know, they're going to be at home this time up against their division rivals. I don't know if this would ice the division for them. It could be. I'm not totally sure. I think they might need some help outside of that potentially. But certainly it goes without saying, this Buccaneers team does have weapons. Obviously Mike Evans and, you know, Palmer and obviously Baker Mayfield throwing the ball to him. They've been playing pretty well. So, yeah, I think this Buccaneers team is solid. I think they're going to win this game. And the Saints, the more I talk about the Saints, the more depressed I get. So I'm just going to stop talking about the Saints. Moving on. The 49ers visiting the Commanders. Seth is taking the 49ers for obvious reasons. Yeah, I think this is a bounce-back game. That 49ers team got smacked around. Doesn't feel good. Brock Purdy did not look good. But the Commanders stink. They have an awful defense. I think this is, like, prime taking for anybody, or for everybody, I should say, on that offense to just feel good about themselves. Christian McCaffrey likely going to go off. Debo going to go off. Brock probably going to go off. If you're the Commanders, I don't know. Maybe you see what you got in Jacoby Brissett. I mean, like, he's been playing okay. Sam Howell he puts up a lot of yards, but that's about all I could say that's good about him. So, yeah, give me the 49ers to win this game on the road. Steelers visiting the Seahawks. Seth taking the Seahawks to win this game. This is a genuinely tough game because there's a part of me that says, well, the Steelers have to finish above 500, and they're not beating the Ravens. So that only means the only option is for the Steelers to win the game. I don't know how it's going to happen. They could return a punch. They could block a field goal. I don't know. It could be a low-scoring affair. I have no idea how this is going to happen. But it is going to happen. Give me the Steelers to win the game. Up next, the Chargers visiting Denver, taking on the Broncos. Seth is taking the Chargers to win this game. Sorry, Seth, that's not going to happen. As bad as the Broncos are, they're not losing to Quentin Stick, because if you lose to Quentin Stick or what's his name? Quiston, I don't even know, Stick Boy. They're not losing to the Stick Boy. It's not going to happen. The Broncos are terrible, but they're not that terrible. Like, well, they did lose to the Patriots. No, we're sticking with the Broncos. They're going to win this game. It's going to be at home. They're going to keep their playoff hopes alive going into the final week of the season. So, give me the Horsies. Up next, the Bengals visiting the Chiefs. Seth taking the Chiefs. And you know what? I'm going to also disagree on this. The Chiefs are 4-4, I believe, at home this year. Not great, Bob. Not great. Meanwhile, the Bengals, they're still fighting for their playoff lives. And granted, it's over the Chiefs, but Chiefs certainly can be a little bit more complicit. And I think if they can manage to, you know, play decent defense against the Chiefs, I think the Bengals have an actual shot here of winning this game. So give me the Kitties. Give me the striped Kitties. Give me them. And finally, Sunday Night Football, Packers at the Vikings, the battle of mid in the NFC North. Who's going to win it? Seth thinks it's going to be the Packers. And I am going to disagree. I'm going to take Nick Mullins and the Vikings. Look, we saw it this past week. The Vikings can put up a lot of yards. It's just a matter of not turning the ball over. Easier said than done. But I think that against the Packers, a team that is sort of stumbling a little bit here, they don't really know what's going on. They managed to beat the Panthers by like 3, so good job, guys, I guess. But their defense clearly has its struggles, and I think it's going to be a little bit of a shootout here. I mean, this is a divisional game. Both teams fighting for their playoff lives, but I think the Vikings come out on top here. So give me the Skull Boys. Go to round it up. Jets, Browns, we are both taking the Browns. Lions, Cowboys, we are both taking the Lions. Dolphins, Ravens, we are both taking the Ravens. Patriots, Bills, we are both taking the Bills. Falcons, Bears, we're both taking the Bears. Titans, Texans, Seth is taking the Texans. I am taking the Titans. Raiders, Colts, Seth is taking the Raiders. I am taking the Colts. Panthers, Jaguars, we're both taking the Jaguars. Rams, Giants, we're both taking the Rams. Cardinals, Eagles, we're both taking the Eagles. Saints, Buccaneers, we're both taking the Buccaneers. 49ers, Commanders. We're both taking the 49ers. Steelers, Seahawks. Seth is taking the Seahawks. I am taking the Steelers. Chargers, Broncos. Seth is taking the Chargers. I am taking the Broncos. Bengals, Chiefs. Seth is taking the Chiefs. I am taking the Bengals. And Packers, Vikings. Seth is taking the Packers. And I am taking the Vikings. And those are your Week 17, second to last week in the NFL season, picks of the week. Hey there, what you just watched was actually a clip from a larger show that we do every Tuesday night. What are you doing Tuesday night? Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button so that you don't miss out on any more of our weekly shows every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you there.